This is Adnana Musutanagic, and I am here discussing my Unit 3 unit plan for methods. First and foremost, I want to go ahead and get started with the demographics and a quick calendar outline of what it is that my unit focuses on. So in terms of background, when we look at it, yes, I teach U.S. history 8th grade, and in specific, I'm focusing on my 6th period, which has 32 students. Of those 32, 17 of them are proficient, and I have about 3 expanding EL students and 10 bridging. In terms of special needs, I have 2 IEP students, 0 504s, and 0 GATE. In terms of gender breakdown, there are 17 males and 15 females within the classroom. And then ethnicity, the majority are Hispanic with 24. I have 5 Black or African American students, 2 Asians, and 1 Filipino, and no others. In terms of modifications and accommodations, the basics in terms of academics, I always provide scaffolded worksheets, define vocabulary, and so forth. Behavior, I ensure that anything that is being set up with how they do their classwork is consistently being followed. Really quickly, I want to give a quick look into the unit plan and what its focus is on. So we are currently just wrapping up Unit 2, which was the Toward Independence unit, how the United States became independent. When we dive back from break into the content, we will be looking at Unit 3, which focuses on how the nation was actually formed. So yes, it is a 4-week unit, and it focuses on chapters 8 to 10 of the history book. So the essential question that my students will be answering is right here in terms of why was the Constitution created and how does it protect individual rights. Go through lots of different strategies. I focus on different standards. The main standards that I like to dive into are identifying the different steps in text description of a process related to historical and social studies, specifically how a bill becomes a law, how interest rates and taxes and so forth are created. They will be analyzing the different principles in the underlying U.S. Constitution, and then there's a bunch of writing standards that ties into their unit assessment, which is essay-based, and the kids produce a 5-paragraph essay answering that essential question. When we dive into the actual weeks, we will be starting on January 2nd, so as soon as we come back from break, there's weekly questions that the students focus on, and then every day there's a specific objective for them to meet. In terms of that, week 1 is focused on creating the Constitution, so how it was created and the different delegates that went about creating that Constitution. Week 2 is all about Chapter 9, and the question we focus on answering is how has the Constitution created a more perfect union? The kids look at it examining the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of the government, understanding how that is run and how it is still run to this day. Week 3 is all about the Bill of Rights and the individual liberties that every citizen and any person born in the United States, or therefore resides in the United States, has. And then week 4 is their assessment week, where Monday we start with claims, Tuesday and Wednesday we focus on looking for evidence, and then come Thursday and Friday they work on completing a final draft. Briefly looking at week 1, I have all of the specific standards for that week and then daily objectives as the week breakdown goes. And do nows are always on a Google document as so. And then the unit slides focus something like this every day. There's a do now question that leads then into agendas, standard overview, objective overview, what their classwork is and how they're going to be doing this classwork, and then an exit ticket preferably at the end of every day that summarizes and it acts like a formative assessment as to what it is they learned that day. That all translates into a quiz that is typically given by the end of those weeks, if not by the end of the unit. One other thing I wanted to show and focus on was the assessment week breakdown. Since it is a week all in terms of writing, we focus on the essential question that the kids are answering that they must create a claim around. Their standard will always be writing based and something along the lines of writing arguments to support claims with clear and relevant evidence. And that leads into daily objectives and daily deliverables they must complete to ensure that they are producing a good and qualitative final assessment. So Monday would be something along the lines of creating a claim that answers that central question. So they pick a side and create their 3 reasons why. We go through introducing that. I had give and provide worksheets that are meant to tailor and tailored to every single day that act as deliverables, and I track their progress through that. Tuesday and Wednesday focuses on evidence. Thursday and Friday they go through and write. There's always a PowerPoint that keeps them tracking through what it is. We always start Monday with answering in the do now their essential question that later translates into their classwork. Objectives, so forth, what their classwork is, how they're going to create a claim. I leave the unit question posted for them to help answer. And then from there, the next day we focus and get their mind going on evidence and looking for evidence for their different body paragraphs, how it is they're going to find it, and so forth. As kids end up completing different things, they end up at a different pace, and so throughout the remainder of the week, some are catching up and some are ahead. So I always provide a variety of classwork options that they could be working on as the days go on. Very quickly, an example of a worksheet that they focus on is something along the lines of this, their claim introduction paragraph. Always starts with an opening and then picking a side. There will be a starter sentence here posted that helps them answer their unit question, and they come up with their 3 reasons why. A transition is the last concluding sentence that brings it all together, and then 4 extra credit if they have time and if they're ahead. They take these chunks that they created for their introduction paragraph and then combine it down here into a full introduction paragraph that addresses their claim that they can then transfer over to their final. This is the focus of the Unit 3. Overall, just looking at how the United States formed as a nation and how the Constitution came about and the rights that we have present today are around because of the colonists and because of the forming of that nation that the delegates created.